Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show where keeping it real goes right. Welcome to Real Take Sports Talk. It's your boy Omar. I'm joined as always with Andrew. Andrew, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, bro. How you been?
I've been good. First show of the new year, and we're gonna start it off right. We're gonna be actually talking about the Jaguars. I got the wrong graphic up right now, but we have a lot of news from the NFL world, namely Urban Meyer, head coach now. Urban Meyer today was announced as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's agreed to become the coach today. This has been something that was been brewing for a long time. A lot of people thought this was going to happen. Andrew, why don't you fill us in? What are your thoughts on Urban Meyer being the head man in Jacksonville?
I know a lot of people agree with it. A lot of people like Urban's pedigree. A lot of people like what Urban did in college. Personally, I don't. I think about the situation. A lot of people have looked at the situation, comparing his situation, comparing the situation with the Jets and comparing that to the situation in Jacksonville. And I get it. He's going to get the number one pick. They do have a lot of leverage. They're going to be able to draft Sunshine. But the issue that I have with it is just that, like, he's been out of coaching for so long. Like, he's not proven at the NFL level. As we've seen, dude, the college game is a lot different than the NFL game. You know, the college game is not the same. Nick Saban, Big Daddy Saban, the GOAT of college football coaches, he couldn't crack it in the NFL. And Urban Meyer, even though Urban Meyer does have a very good track record, I I don't know how it's going to be. With this news just broke today that he became the coach. And, he has a lot of guys that are in the NFL right now. A lot of guys are pulling for him. They want to see their guy succeed. I don't think in Jacksonville, though, I don't think it's going to be anything it's not going to be anything great in Jacksonville. I would hate to see, his legacy as a coach get tarnished because of his tenure in Jacksonville, but we're going to have to wait and see, because the only reason why nobody brings up Saban's failure in the NFL is because what did Saban do after he left the NFL? He went on to win how many national championships in a 12-year span at Bama? So Urban doesn't have that. Urban left the college game because he had health issues. Now he's coming back to coach the NFL.
Yeah. And
I
I think that's the question. How long is it going to last? Because he's left college football twice now. He left to Florida because he had health issues. He obviously left at Ohio State a few years ago because he had health issues. So the question is going to be, how long is he going to last in this position? And and not only that are the Jags going to be worthwhile enough for him to stick around? Do you think Urban Meyer is actually going to be able to withstand this rebuild likely that's going to happen in Jacksonville, because they have the number one pick and they have they have some good talent around this team. James Robinson, undrafted free agent, came out of nowhere, and he's a 1,000-yard rusher. I think he should be up there for rookie of the year, as one of those guys at rookie of the year, but I doubt he'll get any votes because that's how the NFL is. Minshew didn't get any last year. He's likely not going to get any this year. Fuck Jacksonville, I guess. But the question is, how long will he last? Do you see him staying here through the rebuild, 2-3 years?
I think maybe they'll give him two to three, just to see what could happen. A lot of it's gonna. Just remember, see, I don't even think Urban's gonna be doing a lot of the drafting, because remember, they have the owner who has been a pretty good scout when it comes to drafting outside of Blake Bortles. He likes to scout the players. Like, he likes to go to the combine. He likes to say, I like that guy. So it'll be interesting to see whether he gives Urban, who has had a lot more time with a lot of these kids coming out, working at Fox Sports and watching the games and everything, watching these kids. It'll be interesting to see what he lets Urban do. I don't see Urban lasting too long, though. I mean, clearly the number one pick, you know who it's going to be. So he's going to have that. They can't really get that one wrong. But I mean, for long-term success, remember, Jacksonville doesn't have much, dude. Just how many years removed are they from being Saxonville? And they are not even a shell of what they once were. The defense is horrible outside of CJ Henderson, who's a
Yeah.
promising young corner. Like they have a lot of work to do. And Urban, it's not like, even though Urban did coach a lot of stars in the NFL, these guys are going to get paid, and not many of those guys, he coached a lot of the Bosas. He coached I think he was one of the guys responsible for recruiting Chase Young. So he coached a lot of these guys, but they're not just going to drop their winning situations to go play for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see him lasting too long in the rebuild. And he's going to have Trevor Lawrence. whatever players they draft this year and next year, he's going to have those guys. They already have Robinson. They have C.J. Henderson, the promising young corner, but I don't think it's going to
DJ
last that
Shark.
long though. Chark's another one. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, clearly it's going to be an upgrade from what we had this year. They're probably going to win more games this year, but remember, dude, that's a tough division he's going to. Man. Like
Look,
Tennessee's on the rise.
I'm just saying. I mean, I doubt that. Yeah, they're probably going to do better than they are this year. They were one of the worst teams in football last year. Actually, the worst team in football, one of the worst teams of all time last year. They went 1-15. So, that's not a question. Are they going to do better? I think, they get a quarterback, a franchise guy, whether it's Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, we'll talk about, but because there's that Ohio State connection. But I do think that, I think this is less of a rebuild though than people think. I think this is probably going to be a quick turnaround for this team because it's not just, and yes, they are in a hard division, but I do think that the offensive talent specifically on this team, if they get a franchise quarterback, it can overcome a lot of the defensive areas where they lack. And you said Henderson's coming on the come up in that cornerback position. If they draft well, which Tony Khan and Shad Khan have been known to do. And plus we have Urban Meyer's expertise about college drafting, and he knows what to see and he knows what to look out for. So I think they're going to be fine as far as next year and 2 years from now. But are they going to be that championship level team in just a few years, which is what you need if you're Urban Meyer, because you've done it all in college football. You've won 3 national championships. You've won all the coaches of the year. You've had your quarterbacks drafted in the first round. He's done it all. He's the reason Tim Tebow was a first-round draft pick. Urban Meyer made Tim Tebow, who loved the man to death, incapable of throwing the football past 10 yards downfield. He made him a first-round draft pick. So I think Urban Meyer is coming in not just to win and prove that he can do it in the NFL, but to win a championship. And yes, with the Jaguars. But I think that this team needs to, I think the most important thing is they need to draft well this year on defense. They got to find some gems in the later rounds. And will they do that? I think they're able to. But the question is really, how is Shad Khan, Tony Khan, and Urban Meyer's relationship gonna be? How is that gonna play out? Because we know that the Khans, they like to have control over their team. They like to sustain control because that's what they do. Because Tony Khan, he runs his own analytical firm that's used for all over the sports world. It's actually kind of crazy. There's like 5 MLB teams who use his firm. I think there's like football, soccer teams that use his firm as well. So, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know how that relationship is going to play out, but I think if they draft well and if they are on the same page, which I assume they are because Urban took the job, but I think they're going to have some sustained success. But the question is, now that Urban Meyer, former Ohio State guy, former head coach of Ohio State, never coached Justin Fields, I don't think, but still got that Ohio State connection, do you see them taking Fields over Lawrence at number 1?
I don't, only because it's too much of a risk. I love Justin Fields. I've been the biggest supporter of Justin Fields, but with all the hype that's been around Trevor Lawrence, it's one of those situations where if you don't take Trevor Lawrence and Trevor Lawrence ends up going to another franchise and doing well, it'll be one of those he was the obvious pick, and we were telling you he was the obvious pick and you didn't listen to us. So that's why I think it's going to end up being Trevor Lawrence. Urban's not going to have much of a say. And I've heard Urban is he's praised Trevor Lawrence for a lot of his intangibles, what he does on the field. So I think Urban and Trevor Lawrence are going to get along great. Justin Fields, I love Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields is going to go number 1 just based off of the showing you had in the national championship. Now, mind you, Alabama did that to everybody. I know, I have a thing against Clemson. Listen, as much, I don't think Clemson's defense could have done. I think they would have done. I think Ohio State might have been the best defense, probably one of the best defenses Alabama was going to see all year. And they have first round DBs that couldn't cover Devontae Smith. So
Right.
That was just one of those teams that comes around every how many years where you have a generational running back and a generational wideout on the same team. Really wasn't much that was going to happen. So
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
I agree.
In terms of Urban, But in
Yeah.
terms of Urban, time is going to tell. I'm rooting for him. One of the stats that people like to bring up is that his first year at Utah, he took Utah before he got there, took them first year 9-3. The next year, 11-0, quote unquote national champions when he had Alex Smith. He took the Ohio State job, year before 6-7. Next year, 12-0. If not for the sanctions that were placed on Ohio State because of the prior regime, they probably would have played for the national championship. So he
Yeah.
does have a track record of taking below, organizations or teams that, have potential. He does have the ability to turn them around like that. So we're going to see what happens with Urban, though, because the NFL is different. Big Daddy Saban couldn't crack it in the NFL. So we'll see what Urban can do. Might be different.
Yeah. Is he gonna be Jim Harbaugh and be successful, or is he gonna be Chip Kelly potentially and just kind of fade out? And we don't even know where Chip Kelly is nowadays. UCLA, right? Maybe. I don't know. Don't care.
He might still be at UCLA. Yeah, Chip Kelly dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah. Who cares? Anyway, So that's gonna be it for our Jag segment. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. Also, check out our videos in the archives. Andrew's got a lot of rants about Clemson that you guys would probably love to hear. But yeah, so that's it. Next on the docket, we have. Oh, Andrew, are you ready? It's your team.
Oh yeah,
it's your team. This past Sunday, the Tennessee Titans faced off against the Baltimore Ravens at home in a playoff game, a revenge game from before the season, from the season, week 11. The Ravens lost. We remember they lost in the playoffs after the Ravens went 14-2. So this was a huge rivalry game. The tensions were high. There was a lot of smack talking. John Harbaugh wanted to fight Mike Vrabel at one point. There was a lot going on. But in the end, Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson were able to pass and run their way past the Tennessee Titans to a 20-13 victory. And afterwards, we saw a lot of shenanigans. No shaking of the hands. Lamar Jackson said they disrespected us, so ain't no reason to show respect. And I'm all in on that. But Andrew, as you know, you are a Titans fan. I am a Ravens fan. This was a very contentious week for you and me as well, but I'm glad to hear that we're over it. Andrew, what was your reaction to what happened on Sunday? Break it down from a Titans perspective before I crisply roast your team.
Well, first off, okay, some of the texts that I was getting from other people in other group chats were, I literally had one, and I quote, saying, I can see your stories where you say the Titans give me anxiety. He goes, they make sense to me now. He was watching the game as an unbiased fan of football, watching that game, and he was like, you know what, dude, I get it now. So there was that. Another thing, y'all danced on the logo. We disrespected the shield. Honestly, dude,
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
As pissed off as I was, bro, you know what? Football needs it's got the game, dude. Sports today have become so watered down. Like,
hell yeah.
There's rivalries, but there's nothing like that. Like, dude, Twitter, there were people on Twitter who were like, is Titans Ravens the new rivalry? Now, for anyone who does not remember the early 2000s, no, it's not a new rivalry. It's just a renewed
AFC
rivalry.
Central, baby.
This was
AFC Central.
This is just. Don't be surprised if Lamar Jackson versus Derrick Henry. Don't be surprised if that is the new Eddie George versus Ray Lewis. That is what the fuck this is. That is what this is.
I remember I texted you. I sent you one text the whole day, the entire day. I sent you one text, and it read "game." That was when Lamar Jackson sealed the game on that 20-yard run at the end. Here's the thing. As a Ravens fan, I was honestly quite nervous going into this game because Lamar, he's been a little iffy in the playoffs, obviously, and the defense hasn't helped him out the past 2 years either. I think that's been completely underrated as far as blame goes, and for our last 2 playoff losses. And you're live, by the way; they can see you doing that to your teeth. But I don't think that the Ravens went into this kind of in the same way that they went into other ones. This was a game that they were not going to lose. That's simply it. The Ravens were too motivated in this game to not lose because the entire week, the story was what? Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. There's no way that the Ravens can stop him.
Yep.
Let me finish. The story was Lamar Jackson can't win a playoff game. The story was John Harbaugh, he's not going to be able to win like he used to. He can't go on the road anymore and win. The story was that the Baltimore Ravens can't do it. That was the story, and everyone except for Stephen A. Smith, as you pointed out to me earlier in the week, picked the Titans. Many people picked the Titans because they thought that the Ravens, even though they were on this heater, even though they were on this winning streak, but they can't do it in the playoffs. And what did they show? Week 11, you guys, Malcolm Butler, your coach, comes out, stomps on our logo, and the only person out there to see it, the only person out there when it happens, and the players didn't find out about this until afterwards because they don't have their phones during the game. So they didn't even know any of this stuff went on. The only person who knew what was going on was John Harbaugh. And he came out and he said, you don't disrespect my fucking logo like that. You don't do that. And what happened? What happened? They came back. And the second that game was sealed, Ryan Tannehill throws a pick, your wide receiver slips, and Marcus Peters, before he even doesn't even need to think about it, he gets up, runs right in the direction of your Lobo and stomps the shit out. We ate a 15-yard penalty that I wasn't even upset about. Usually I hate that shit. Was not even mad. I thrived off of it. You know why? Because the energy we got from that, the swag we got from that, we needed it. That's the thing we've been missing all year. Last year, the reason we were so successful, the reason the Ravens were so successful was because we kind of walk with that swag. We had the confidence. And this game, gave us that confidence. And we'll talk in a minute about how, the Ravens stopped Derrick Henry, which was, to me, the biggest surprise of the entire game, to be honest. But the confidence that the Ravens have now, they got a big matchup against the Bills. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But the confidence they have and the team that they are, because Lamar knows now. Beginning of the year, he admitted he was a little antsy. He was a little nervous. He didn't know, do I want to run the ball more? I need to be more of a pocket pantser? There was all of these thoughts going in his head. And then John Harbaugh sat him down during the bye week and said, just be you. And ever since he caught COVID and came back, he's just been Lamar Jackson. They've won 6 straight now. They should be considered a Super Bowl contender. I think they can actually pull it off this year. I think they actually can pull it off, and they can compete with the Chiefs. Past 2 games against the Chiefs have been kind of iffy, but I think that the Ravens right now, the way that they're playing, if they're able to replicate their success against Buffalo, if they're able to go into Kansas City, I think they can go in there and win.
I think somebody was saying, too, this is another stat. This is another storyline that not many people know about. The only people that really know about this one was people that have been a part of it. Titans-Ravens, dude. In their 5 playoff matchups for the Titans that played the Ravens in a playoff game, the road team has won every time.
Oh yeah, yep. You guys always lose in Tennessee. That's why that was
can't win a home playoff game.
That was the other thing that made me confident about this. Like how many I've seen the Ravens beat the Titans in the playoffs like a billion times, or in Tennessee a billion times. In Nashville. You guys, yeah. I think that was a big thing coming out of that. But let's talk about Derrick Henry, Andrew. His longest run of the day was for 8 yards at the end of the game. Didn't have a first down. He had, I believe, 40 yards total. What the fuck happened to Derrick Henry?
We got a little complacent. I think the ground and pound game. See, our Tennessee's thing is ground and pound, and we went away from it. There was the drive where A.J. Brown came down. He caught the touchdown, bodied. I think it was Marlon Humphrey. Bodied. It was either Marlon Humphrey or Peters. Bodied him,
it was
got
Marlon
the touchdown
Humphrey.
and everything.
It was Marlon Humphrey. Yeah. The offensive pass interference, it was Marlon Humphrey.
They're not calling on the playoffs. That's playoff. That's big boy football, man.
I mean, he pushed him down, but all right.
That's big boy football, man. But we went away from that. Once Lamar broke off that big touchdown run, like the 60-yarder, where we had him sacked, and then he decides to go fucking be Superman and just outrun our entire defense.
No, he decided to be Lamar
right,
Jackson.
well, fuck,
He decided to be Lamar Jackson, fastest man on the field.
So there was that, and then we just went away from it. We were feeding Henry. You guys did a good job of loading the box and trying to fill up those holes and everything. The Ravens have a good run defense. I mean, we know their defense is good, but the thing has always been you're not going to run the ball against us. Ravens have a good run defense. I'm not even going to make excuses, dude. Like, we had guys that we were missing on the offensive line, but you know what? Come playoff time, you got to step up. So we've been missing
it did make a difference.
forever.
It did make a difference in the past few weeks. That's the thing. You guys haven't really had your offensive line for most of the year. So
not a
you guys
single
have
Pro
used
Bowl. We didn't have a single Pro Bowl offensive lineman. And
so the thing is, it's definitely not something that I think you guys did. I think that what happened was
good Ravens defense. It was just good Ravens defense.
What happened when we played you guys in Week 11? Calais Campbell wasn't playing. Brandon Williams, our fantastic defensive tackle, who, by the way, one of the most underrated defensive tackles in pro football. Big shout out to big baby Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams, he's a run stopper. That's why he's getting paid like something insane, like $50 million in his contract. Brandon Williams he will stop the run no matter what. So I think having him there, Calais Campbell, who's familiar with Derrick Henry, he's played in the AFC South. He knows that he was part of that great Saxonville team a few years ago. So Calais
Campbell too.
Yeah, Yannick Ngakoue as well. So you had all these guys who were familiar. They kind of knew, And again, this is the Ravens defense that's just starting to get healthy. Jimmy Smith came back. We saw Yannick Ngakoue start to take form. We saw Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams come back. Marcus Peters, who was dealing with an injury, come out and ball. Granted, Marlon Humphrey did not have the best game. He got fucking bodied on a few of those plays, but still, towards the end of the game, he got hot. So I think that the Ravens, what they did was they adjusted. That's been the story of their season. They've adjusted and they've slowly been able to get better, and they've slowly been able to figure out ways to stop the opposing team, and that's what they did on Sunday. But man, if you're a Titans fan, which you are, if you're a Titans fan, you cannot be happy looking forward because you guys had such a great season. Ryan Tannehill was like an MVP candidate. 40 total touchdowns, only, I believe, 7 picks. He completing 70% of his passes. He had a career year. Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. And it you know what it feels like, Andrew? It felt exactly like what happened with the Ravens last year. You guys had this amazing season. Lamar Jackson last year was the MVP. Ravens went 14-2. Their defense was number one. Offense was number one. And then they just lost in the playoffs. And everyone's looking around like, what the hell just happened? Like, I seriously think that's like it's actually a good parallel between what happened to you guys.
We'll be back. I have
no doubt. I have no doubt.
We'll be back. The biggest thing is, I think, one of the biggest things that Tennessee we're going to have to try to fix this season, I think the organization is fixing it, is Vrabel. I don't think Vrabel should be the defensive coordinator anymore.
Oh, no.
He already has enough.
He already has enough trouble trying to be the head coach. I don't think he needs any more responsibility.
I don't think he should be he had fucking Kevin Byard. I don't think Kevin Byard was an all-pro safety before Vrabel got there. Byard has been nowhere near the player that he once was. We still don't have a pass rush. I think our biggest thing in the offseason is, we got the draft coming up. We're going to have to figure out Clowney. I don't know if they're going to bring
Oh, you shouldn't bring Clowney back.
Injury.
You should not bring Clowney back.
He can't demand anything. We're going to have to go into the draft. We're going to talk about the draft later on down the road, but we have, the pass rush is the biggest thing. I've been talking to people, Titans fans, people that have radio shows, people that are close to the organization. I've been asking them, like the Matthew Judon situation. And, they don't. Personally, I've had people tell me that Matthew Judon, if not Jacksonville, if the Ravens don't pay Matthew Judon, he's good, but if we're gonna get anybody, we want Yannick. So I don't think.
So basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take one of our players in the offseason. I mean, honestly, here's the thing.
Whichever one you don't pay, depending on which one you don't pay, it is.
I think we're gonna be hard pressed. We're gonna be hard pressed to pay either of them. To be honest with you, we're just because the thing is, we also have to look. We have a lot of things coming up in the future. We have a lot of decisions coming up. Biggest one, obviously, is not if, but how much we're going to pay Lamar Jackson. That's the big thing for the Ravens, and I think to figure out this offseason. How much do you pay Lamar Jackson? If he wins a Super Bowl, then I think he might be looking for beyond Deshaun Watson money, perhaps up to Patrick Mahomes money, and honestly, he might be worth it. He really might be worth that much. But we have to think about that. You have to think about Gus Edwards. Do you keep that two-headed monster at running back together for another year? Because
Oh no, because that is, dude. You got to understand.
because here's the
J.K.
thing. No, 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 no,
Dobbins,
no, no,
like
no, no. J.K. Dobbins was good.
he's a
He had
baller,
he
dude. You
he
got a
is
good
he is
one.
no, 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 no. But what makes this Ravens running attack so dangerous is you have Lamar Jackson, most dangerous runner on the field, but you got J.K. Dobbins, who's going to be like that premier back. But Gus Edwards is someone who gets on literally thrown under a bus. It's funny because he's the Gus Bus. That's his nickname. But he is the hardest hitting runner in the NFL. Okay, one of the hardest hitting runners in the NFL. Obviously, no disrespect to King Henry. Please don't tackle me. I have a family. But Gus Edwards, he's a downhill runner. He had 700 yards in the past 3 seasons. He's that guy. He averages like 5.5 to 6 yards a carry in every year he's had. So he's a guy who he fits in perfectly because when you need a ground hill running back, because Dobbins is good, but it's also good. He's on his rookie contract. You can have Gus Edwards for like another 2-3 years, and then have Dobbins when his contract comes up. Okay, you can be the premier back. Now we'll pay you. That's the luxury the Ravens have. They have 2 great running backs, and when used together with Lamar Jackson, that's what makes the running attack so perfect, because they are different types of running backs. They're both dynamic. Gus Edwards, like I said, one of the most underrated players, I think, period, in the league, to be honest with you. He doesn't get his credit, but when you see that man run, man, he keeps those legs churning. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a lot of there's this guy who used to play for the Chiefs, I believe. What was his name?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
No. Used to play for the Chiefs, not current. I think his name was like Tony Jones or something. I don't know, but
I know what you're talking about.
Monster running back for the Chiefs back in the day. But he's that type of player. He's like he will grind the defense out, and then once the defense is tired, you put in Dobbins. He's going to be able to be dynamic, explosive. Lamar Jackson, same thing. So I think you can actually keep that 3-headed monster and the running attack together, because and like you said, J.K. Dobbins was amazing. He like 800 yards on the ground as a rookie, and he didn't even play in like I think 4 games. So the dude's good. I think that Ravens running attack right now, those 3, you need those people. Sorry, Mark Ingram, love you, but it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game. That's how it be.
And just back on the subject of the Titans real quick too. We're pretty much going to lose our offense. I mean, we have a lot of things we have to fill in. You know, we still don't have a pass rush. We need a pass rush. I'm thinking we should just draft a pass rusher. You know, just go to the draft and literally just look at all the defensive ends and linebackers and just be like, literally just every single one of them, and just be like, listen, like we're going to draft like 2 or 3 of these fuckers, and then maybe sign somebody, and that's it. That's what I think Tennessee should do. Just draft just take Zaven Collins out of damn Tulsa, take that kid out of North Carolina, and then go sign a veteran pass rusher. That's that. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. Tennessee, I'm hearing now we're doing interviews with the Clemson offensive coordinator. So that leads me to believe Art Smith is gone. Our offensive coordinator is not coming back next year. So we're probably going to need a new.
He's getting a lot of head coaching buzz.
We're probably going to need a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, because I don't have any faith in Vrabel being a defensive coordinator anymore. And we need personnel, particularly in the trenches. So we have a lot of stuff we got to answer. The offense, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. We're going to see what happens with that. J-Rob has a lot of stuff he's going to have to get after this offseason.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the AFC South, there's one thing we forgot to do last time that I am so excited to be doing this time around. Andrew, you know where I'm going with this. It's time for the Minshew Minute. Gardner Minshew, former starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, lost his job, obviously, because the Jaguars love the tank. You know, they said it was because they wanted to put their players in the best position to win. Total lie. Don't care what they say. They were lying, capping straight from the hip.
Hey,
But
listen, the sky cam will get you. The sky cam will get you
Skycam
if you're
will
not
get
careful.
you. Not
If
careful,
you're not
Skycam
careful.
will get you. So let's take it from here. Gardner Minshew this season, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, was a bright spot for this offense. He was completing above 65% of his passes. He, again, was the reason a lot of this offense kind of showed out. James Robinson was best in the games that Minshew played in. He wasn't really used much in the games that Mike fucking Lennon was playing in. So we have that. Andrew, you already know how I feel about Minshew. The Jags have the number one pick. They're obviously going to take quarterback. They'd be stupid, honestly, not to. If you have a chance to take a franchise-changing guy like Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, you go for it. So where does that put Minshew? Where do we see him going into next year?
I mean, I think he should get some buzz. I mean, he definitely should, whether as a backup or whether as a starter. I mean, listen, they don't got a quarterback up in New England right now,
That's what
man.
I'm saying. That's what a lot of people are saying.
The whole Cam Newton experiment didn't work out because Cam can't throw the ball more than I think Drew Brees at 40 might have a stronger arm than Cam. I'm just saying, not throwing no shade at Cam. I'm just saying. And Jared Studham, clearly, that hasn't worked out. I think the kid has more picks than he does. I think he has more picks thrown, or more pick sixes thrown than he has touchdowns in his career.
I think he has more picks thrown than Cam Newton's had touchdowns this year, but
yeah, which is, I mean, Cam didn't really have that many touchdowns, but
6.
yeah,
He had 6 passing touchdowns this year.
Studham didn't really work out, and
Nope.
Minshew has shown that the Minshew magic is a thing, and he could ignite some folks up there in Foxborough.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think
he does have experience. He does have experience playing with less on the offensive side of the football, and I hear Patriots fans complaining all the damn time that we don't have. It's not like we got Calvin Johnson that our quarterback's throwing to. It's not like we have a DeAndre Hopkins or an Odell. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, hey, Minshew has never played with one of them either, and he's been pretty successful. So see what happens.
Yeah,
maybe Minshew goes up north.
He's a guy who doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He completes the short game very well. He's able to read defenses. Perfect for that Bill Belichick offense. Perfect for that New England Patriots team, I think. And it's good for him to, I think, build. Because the thing about the Patriots is people forget they lost like 10 players to COVID. They lost 10 players before the season who opted out, and like starting players who opted out for COVID. And they still went like 6-10, 7-8. Like Bill Belichick still had them in the playoffs up until the last few weeks. So this New England team is actually not as far away, I think, from the playoffs and regaining some momentum as people think. Question is Gardner Minshew the answer? And if you're Bill Belichick and you're seeing that, okay, Trey Lance, probably not the guy I want to pick in the first or second round because they don't pick quarterbacks. Like Bill Belichick, he values those picks. If he can trade out to get 2 picks in the second round for his first round pick, he'll totally do that. So Belichick, he's someone who values picks. He's not going to go out and make that splashy trade for someone like a Matthew Stafford. He's not going to go out and make that splashy trade for Mitch Trubisky, which was a name that was insanely thrown around that the Patriots might be interested in. No one's paying Mitch Trubisky that much money. So I think Minshew, still on a rookie deal, a good, competent quarterback, shown that he can be successful now with Bill Belichick and Josh Daniels, who doesn't look like he's going to get a coaching job anytime soon. Is he going to be the fit? Can he fit in that offense? I think so. You put some pieces around him. You draft some pieces around him. But I really hope you get a running back. That would be nice. Maybe Najee Harris. But I think the Patriots could use a solid running attack, especially if you're going to have a young quarterback like Minshew. So Minshew can come in there and do some damage. He's like that type of guy. He can come in there, do some damage. You put a solid running game behind him, play action game, he'll kill you downfield. That's the type of player he is. So I think it would actually be good for the Patriots. If you're not in love with Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Wilson, the kid out of BYU, if you're not in love with those guys, this is probably a good bargain deal. You don't have to give up much to get him because he's actually not on a lot of people's radar, which is odd considering his early success. And then Johnny explained it to me. Johnny explained it to me as He plays in Jacksonville. People don't take it seriously. People think it's just garbage time. But I understand garbage time, right? I understand garbage time when, a lot of his, like, when a lot of your stuff is going, when you're down by a lot and, like, you're padding the stats, right? Garbage time, though, isn't, the efficiency that he's been showing, because he's efficient throwing the football. Like, last year, especially, he had, I think, it was like 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions as a rookie, went 6-6, completed nearly 67% of his passes. The dude is good, all right? This year, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completed over 60% of his passes. Obviously, the win-loss record this year is terrible, but he's played well, and a lot of that isn't in garbage time necessarily. The thing is, the defense just kind of falls apart as the game goes on, so he's out of and the offense isn't that good, so he's out of it early. So I think when he has a good defense around him, when he has a solid running game, he can be extremely effective, and he might one day even be like at the level of a top 10 quarterback. Who knows? Especially if Bill Belichick's his coach. Who knows?
I totally agree, dude. I don't know, dude. The Patriots. I mean, dude, like the Patriots really don't have they don't really have. They fell off. Like, how many years have we been hearing? They had the 20-year damn dynasty. How many years have we been hearing people talk about? Is it Tom? Is it Bill? I think we see now it was Tom. So
no, it was both of them. Tom doesn't win a ring without Bill. Bill doesn't. No, not even. Bill could win a ring without Tom. Bill totally could win a ring. It was Bill. Like, what am I saying? Well, it was Bill. It was Bill. What do you mean?
Early on, I think early on it was Bill. I think later on,
Oh yeah, obviously Tom Brady became the greatest player.
Yeah.
But it was because he was playing with Bill Belichick. All right, Bill Belichick. Remember, he took Matt Castle to 11-5 with that New England Patriots team in 2008 when Tom Brady wasn't playing. He took Cam Newton, who, I'm sorry, doesn't look like a quarterback anymore. I think he had like 10 rushing touchdowns this year, and he was an inefficient passer. He was not good passing the football, and they still went 6-10, and they were in the playoff hunt up until the last few weeks of the season. So Bill Belichick, he doesn't have half his defense either. Tom Brady is down there. He's got like 7 players he can throw the ball to, and they'll catch it if it's in their area code. So that defense is stout. That defense is stout on any team except for the New Orleans Saints, which we'll get to in a minute. But I don't see.
I think they're losing. They're losing this weekend.
Oh, they are. But
they're fighting Drew Brees.
But I don't see. That's the thing. The question is, is it Tom? Is it Bill? The Patriots don't win without. I don't think the Patriots dynasty happens without both of them. They don't win. They don't win 6 Super Bowls without them. But if you're asking me, who's there without the other one and wins the Super Bowl, it's Bill. Because Bill Belichick will get the most out of his players. That's how he is. He was the last coach before Stefanski to actually take Cleveland to the playoffs.
We could debate that another day. I mean, more or less, because on the subject of Minshew, I'm just saying when it comes to the subject of Minshew, the Patriots, they have, the biggest question they have to answer right now is definitely the quarterback position. Minshew's a free agent. I don't know if anybody, hey, who knows? If Bill Belichick's willing to make trades, you know what I'm saying? There is long pole Foles.
Oh no, I don't. I think the Nick Foles sweepstakes are done. I think it's over.
Really? You think it's over? I don't know. I hear people. If he's willing to pay, if he's willing to bring back Jimmy, I don't know. Nobody knows what goes on up here when it comes to Bill Belichick. So I don't know. We don't know what movie he's gonna make. He might pull some weird thing where he might tank this year and go get damn Spencer Rattler out of Oklahoma next year.
He might.
I don't know.
And we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, if you guys haven't, please remember to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new episode is released. All right, moving on. Next, we got the divisional round of the playoffs. Huge divisional matchups this weekend. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against New Orleans Saints. It's Brady, Breeze, 3. Baltimore goes to play Josh Allen in Buffalo, likely in the snow. Cleveland, Kansas City is a big matchup. And the Rams play Green Bay. So we actually got our a question in the chat. Is Brady going to win a ring this year with the Bucs? So in order to do that, they need to beat New Orleans. All right. What do you see?
So short answer, no.
No?
So short answer, no.
Why?
Not in that dome. Hell no. They're going to go to New Orleans this weekend because have they beaten New Orleans yet? Have they beaten New Orleans yet? No. Do I see anything changing? No. Okay.
How do they win? How do they win?
That's the short answer.
That's the question. How do they win?
How do they win? The way they won the first 2 times. They played defense. Drew Brees in the playoffs.
No, I'm talking about the Bucks. How do the Bucks win?
Oh, the Bucks? Oh. They hope Drew Brees gets hurt and they have to play against Jameis Winston.
Taysom Hill's the backup.
They're not winning. I don't see a situation where I'm sorry. I don't see a situation where they win, dude. I'm sorry, dude. This is the Drew Brees farewell tour. This is the Drew Brees fucking farewell tour. The words of Pat McAfee, dude. Pat McAfee doesn't have a ring because of Drew Brees and that fucking baby. Tom Brady is not going to have a ring in Tampa Bay because of the Drew Brees farewell tour. It is what it is. Brady's not winning no ring this year. No.
Well, Christian, I hope we answered that question. If you guys have any questions about the NFL playoffs, you guys can comment them in the chat. We'll answer them. But yeah, I don't see New Orleans. I don't know how New Orleans is going to fare. I think it's going to be pretty rough sledding I don't know how the Bucks are going to fare. It's going to be pretty rough sledding for them. The way I do see them winning is they have to be able to run the ball, which is something they've struggled with against the New Orleans Saints. And Tom Brady can obviously turn the ball over because what the Saints have done is they've been able to stop the run, and whenever Brady gets the ball, they've been able to get pressure. And we know, trust me, I'm a Ravens fan. I know the way you beat Tom Brady consistently is by getting pressure in his face. He's not the same person whenever he has pressure in his face because he's used to just sitting in the pocket for like 7 to 15 seconds and having all the time in the world to throw the ball. He doesn't have that against New Orleans. So they need to have a good running attack. Leonard Fournette and the kid Jones need to have a good day. And then they need to be able to set up Tom Brady rolling out or in play action so that he can be as successful as he needs to be. Do I see that happening consistently? Not with Cameron Jordan and all these other guys on the defensive line for New Orleans Saints. It's gonna be a rough game for the Bucks. I got Bucks. I got Saints. Go ahead.
And if you think for 1 second, dude, first off, we know the Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore shit. If you think for 1 second, if Mike Evans plays, if you think Mike Evans is going to have a catch this weekend, you're tripping. Okay, absolutely fucking not.
All right,
absolutely not.
Final score prediction.
Saints.
All right. Yeah, I got Saints 34-17. Bucks, prove me wrong. All right. Next big matchup, Saturday Night Football. We got the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, fresh off their win against the Tennessee Titans, going up against Josh Allen in the snow in Buffalo. 40% chance of snow in Buffalo on that night. Looks like they're going to have about an inch is what they're expecting. So, Lamar Jackson has never played in the snow before. He's barely even seen snow before, according to him. So, he's a Miami kid, so he doesn't get, they don't get snow down there. Big shout out to Johnny in Miami right now. Andrew, what do you see happening if it does snow? If we're getting about an inch of snow, we know that Lamar Jackson, he's someone who already has, struggles a little bit in the elements as far as throwing the football. And we also know Josh Allen doesn't have that problem. The dude's got a cannon of an arm. He can slice it through the snow. What do you see happening in this game?
This is one of those games where it's messed up because the first thing people are going to tell you is when it snows, you want to run the fucking ball. You just want to pound it because it's cold. Nobody wants to tackle when it's cold. The only problem is when you got a quarterback who's not used to playing in the elements, who has shown historically to not do well in the elements. He did have a big win last week, but that was in Tennessee, dude. That's not Buffalo. And you just alluded to it, dude. Josh Allen has a cannon, might have a stronger arm than Mahomes for all we know, and he's used to playing in the elements. So
it's not might, he does. I'm sorry, I love Pat Mahomes.
If they had a throw off, I think Josh Allen beats him.
No disrespect to Pat Mahomes whatsoever. I've seen them both throw a ball in college. I saw Mahomes at Texas Tech, and I saw Josh Allen at Wyoming. There's a reason why Josh Allen only completed like 55% of his passes at Wyoming. Two reasons. He didn't have receivers to throw to. And two, a lot of those balls he just kind of chucked deep, and he would be throwing them consistently just with a flick of his wrist 80 yards downfield.
On the run. He was on the run, too.
Yeah. So
like about to get sacked and just let me get rid of this shit.
Yeah, like so I Josh Allen definitely has, well, not definitely. I think it's close, but I would say he has a stronger arm. But it's going to be interesting this weekend. Again, Lamar, Miami kid, hasn't played in the snow before, but oddly enough, I do think that it's going to play to his advantage, because what it's going to allow for is, no, hear me out on this. Hear me out. I know Buffalo's used to playing in the snow. What it's going to allow for, I think, is for Lamar and the receivers especially to kind of play backyard football, which is when Lamar is at his best. When the play breaks down, Lamar, and he needs to play like backyard football like he's playing in the streets. That's what he does. That's what he did on that run against the Titans. We saw that. And what happens is the defense in these snow games, we know the defense always is on the wrong footing. They're always have their backs up against the wall, because you don't know where the ball is going. Only the receivers do. So I think it's not going to be as bad as people think. And are the Ravens going to be leaning on the run? Yes. Is Buffalo a below average run defense team? Yes. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem. They're probably not going to throw it as much. You're going to see Mark Andrews, if anything, have a lot more targets rather than people like Marquise Hollywood Brown. That's probably going to be true. But I think Lamar's going to be fun. They're going to use him on a lot of rollouts. They're going to use him in the way they should and increase his chances to be good. That's what they're going to do. That Ravens defense, again, stout. And Marlon Humphrey just came off one of the worst games of his career that I've ever seen. I don't think we're going to be seeing the same performance like we did last week. I think Humphrey is going to be motivated. They're probably going to line him up with Stephon Diggs, and that's going to be a matchup I'm going to be really interested in watching. That Stephon Diggs, Marlon Humphrey matchup, because that's honestly probably best cornerback wide receiver or most underrated cornerback wide receiver matchup in the entire playoffs. Think about it.
You're sleeping on AJ Brown, but okay, he'll be the best one day, just not today.
No. I'm saying underrated in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, you're sleeping on AJ Brown, but okay.
I'm not sleeping on AJ Brown. I'm not.
He'll be the best one day. He'll be the best one day, just not today.
All right.
I just don't see it, man. I mean, this has been Buffalo's year, man. I mean, the Ravens have a good run defense, but Buffalo is not really, they can be a methodical team. It's just, dude, I think Josh Allen is just rolling right now. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm a Titans fan, but I mean this wholeheartedly. I'm a realist, dude. Ryan Tannehill, Josh Allen, there is no comparison between those two. It is
zero. But I mean, yeah, but again,
and you also have to take into account. I know what you're saying too about
Ravens have one of the best secondaries in the league, though.
Dude, but you're sleeping on their defense. By the way, our defense held you guys to 20 points.
I'm not sleeping on their defense.
Dude,
I'm not sleeping on their defense.
Our defense held you guys to 20
I'm sleeping
points,
on the run
and
defense,
our defense,
which is statistically one of the below average in the NFL. That's what I'm sleeping on. I'm not sleeping on their pass defense. Their pass defense is good. Tre'Davious White is a top 10 quarterback.
And I think they actually have a better run defense than we have. Mind you, you know our defense might be next to the Jets, or I forgot who was the worst defense in the NFL, but I think Tennessee actually had like the 30th or 31st ranked defense in the entire NFL. So yeah, that you gotta contend with that too. Listen, man, I'm pulling for Lamar. I've wanted to see Lamar succeed since he came into the league this weekend. It's going to be Buffalo, Kansas City for the AFC Championship. That's unless the fucking Browns decide.
Well,
unless the fucking Browns decide.
So now you're just high. Now you're just high. That's.
I mean, I don't know.
Look. Listen. I might be biased. Right? And think that the Ravens are gonna pull this one out. But I'm not dumb. I don't think the Browns have any chance to win that game. But
hey, nobody thought they had a chance.
Before we move on to that
either,
game, I definitely saw that coming. I called it on the pregame show. I called it. I was like, the Steelers suck. The Steelers are trash. They're not going to be able to stop that team. Anyway, all right. Ravens, Bills. What's your prediction, Andrew?
I think the Bills win. I think it's a close game, though. I think the Bills ultimately come out. But I don't think it's going to be high scoring, dude. I could see it maybe being like 2017, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game in the snow. If it's in the snow, obviously the edge goes to the Bills. I'm an optimistic fan, but a fan nonetheless. Ravens pull it out 21-17. Moving on, the final AFC matchup of the weekend. We have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cleveland Browns, who just won their first playoff game since like the 90s. Andrew, does Cleveland have a shot? I don't think so, but what do you think?
I don't know, because Kansas City has had this long layoff. I mean, remember, they didn't play. They've rested all their starters week 17. They had last week off. They didn't, it's a 2-week layoff. We saw what happened last year when Baltimore had that 2-week layoff. They came out, they laid an egg against Tennessee, and this team is hot. I know what you're saying. The Steelers do suck. And you know what? That game could have been a coin toss. You know what I'm saying? If the Steelers don't lay that egg and the Browns be the Browns that we know they could be, you know what I'm saying? And the Steelers
don't lose, dude, you're literally taking away their biggest characteristic that makes up their team. Dude, if Lamar Jackson didn't run, obviously the Ravens would lose in every game. If Aaron Rodgers didn't throw the ball, they would lose every game. If the Steelers didn't suck, they would probably win. So
they would have. But you think about it, dude.
Just take away the biggest characteristic of a team. They suck.
Because
that's what that game was. The Steelers in 2020. They suck.
The game was a coin toss. Okay. If the Steelers lose, you're not surprised. If the Browns lose, you're not. You know what I'm saying? You're not surprised. So if either team wins, you're not surprised because they both suck. But I think Kansas City coming off this layoff and everything like that, 2020 was a weird year where Kansas City finally exercised those home playoff demons. 2021, I don't know, dude. They might lay an egg at home after not having played for a couple weeks. And the Browns might be able to ride that momentum of beating that division rival who was it Claypool? Was it Claypool who was talking shit pregame about the it was either Claypool or Juju was talking shit about the Browns being like they're still the Browns. So
I don't know about them, but Christian Science is definitely talking mad shit in the chat right now. Andy Reid is 18-3 after a bye week, 5-2 after the first round bye. What do you got to say to that, Andrew?
I've seen Kansas City lose a lot of home playoff games. Outside of like last year, so that's what I'm going to say to that. I don't think Kansas.
Well, yeah, you know who they didn't have. You know who they didn't have before last year. Pat Mahomes. So he's the difference maker. Trust me, he's the difference maker.
We will. We'll see what
and look. I think Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb give the only chance the Browns have to win is controlling the clock and hoping that they're
off the field.
Keep Mahomes off the field. That's the only way you beat the Chiefs. You keep Mahomes off the field and you control the clock. If you're able to do that and hope to God they go 3 and out or don't score.
Mahomes throws 2 picks in the first quarter. Or something like that.
Yeah. Basically you need what happened in that Miami game that they had, like where Mahomes threw like 3 picks. Except you need to not be Miami and you need to have a capable offense of taking minutes off the board and getting first down. So, but this team, this team is just too explosive. I don't think the Browns defense has the capacity to cover all of their weapons. I mean, the run defense I think might be able to limit Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Dude, he has so many names. It's I'm getting old. Yeah, I'm getting old. I know too many players from back in the day. I'm getting old, man. I was playing Madden. I was playing like Madden 10 the other day, just to relive my childhood. Yeah, I just remembered everyone. I'm like, I don't even know anyone in the league anymore.
It's all about the Madden 08, bro. The one with Vince Young on the cover. It's all about that Madden 08.
Madden 08. Big apps. But yeah, no, I just don't see the Browns winning. I don't see it. Prove me wrong. As always, prove me wrong. But I got Chiefs, and I got them by a lot. I got Chiefs 44-20.
You know what?
24 points. 24 points.
You know what? I'm not gonna put money on this, but you know what? And don't quote me on this. You can't quote me on this. I'm gonna say it, but fuck it. I'm going with the Browns. But I think it's gonna be one of those, like, I think it's gonna be one of those where the Browns win like 45, 42.
You're putting your
I think
whole
they're gonna put up
reputation,
points.
on the Browns. Not a good move.
I
Not a
never
good
I
move.
never thought I would the Browns against the team that's probably going to be the next dynasty too. I go with the Browns.
All right. Well, you do that. Lastly, in the divisional round, the Green Bay Packers, the number one seed in the NFC, are going to be hosting the LA Rams, who have God knows who at quarterback who's going to play on Sunday. Andrew, this is a game that I'll talk about in a second and give you my view, but I think this is a game that's going to surprise a lot of people. The Rams are a lot better at their best. They're a lot better than a lot of people think, and I think if they can, and they're the most inconsistent team in the NFL by far, but if they can be at their best, they're going to give the Packers a lot of trouble.
Listen, the one thing we hear about Aaron Rodgers all the time is Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have a receiver outside of Devontae Adams. Guess what? Devontae Adams is matched up with the best guy. The best. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you can say Marlon Humphrey. Devontae Adams is going to be lined up
no,
against
I'll give
the
you this.
best corner,
This
the
year,
best fucking corner in the NFL this year. And
This year
that's
he's
one
been the
to watch
best.
for.
This year he's been the best. If you ask me, I'm still taking Marlon Humphrey as a player before I'm taking Jalen Ramsey. But again, that's no disrespect to Ramsey. I just think Marlon Humphrey is severely underrated and more versatile. But go on.
Oh no, I do, dude. Trust me. Ever since Humphrey was at Alabama, when he was with, you had him, Anthony Everett, Fitzpatrick, ballers on the defense. You know, all the Alabama guys, especially corners, DBs, they ballers in the NFL. But on the subject of this game, dude, you're gonna have Devontae Adams matched up against Jalen Ramsey, and frankly, it's gonna be a good matchup. And I think you take away his best weapon, which is Devontae Adams, and you're going to force the other guys to beat you. And like you were saying before, dude, the Rams are a better team than people give them credit for. Very, very, very inconsistent. But that's going to be another one of those situations where if they can control the clock with Cam Akers, which I think they can, and they could get to not Drew Brees, they can get to Aaron Rodgers with Aaron Donald, with that pass defense, and they could stop the run. Don't be surprised. You know what? I'll call it, dude. I will call the LA Rams win this game on Sunday. I will call it.
You're gonna call it too? I was gonna call the upset alert.
I'm calling it too, dude.
Look. No disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, MVP of the season. Probably gonna end up winning the game. Like if we're being real, like the odds are that Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team are gonna win this game. But if this was a 7-game series, the Packers are winning the series, right? Because they're obviously the better team. But this Rams team, like, there's something about this team. There's something, and it's not about Jared Goff. It's not about, this offense and the run game and the receivers. They're good. Not great, but they're good. It's about that defense. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two of the best players in the NFL, period. You got two of the best players in the NFL. You have a linebacking core that's severely underrated. You have, Aaron Donald, who obviously is like the most dominant defensive tackle in the history of football. I think if they're able to get to Aaron Rodgers and they're able to play their game, and if Jared Goff, who came out and he showed that even with a broken finger, he can still be the Jared Goff of old, system quarterback, but a damn good system quarterback. People forget that. Like he helped this team get to the Super Bowl. It wasn't just the defense. It wasn't just Sean McVay. It was Jared Goff too. People can say that he's not a franchise guy. People can say, and he's not like, he's not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Andrew Luck. He's not one of those guys. But he's still a damn good quarterback. Like I've always thought that the Jared Goff hate has been hyperbole, but the Rams are the team. When they're at their best, they're up there as one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, they had a pitiful performance against the Jets. When they're at their worst, it's really bad. It's kind of like I rode the Joe Flacco roller coaster for like 10 years of my football watching life, and when it was good, bro, it was damn good, especially in the playoffs. It was really good. But when it was bad, it was kind of tough to watch sometimes. And then that's what the Rams are right now. When they're good, they're great. When they're not, It's not good to be a Rams fan. It's not fun. But I got the Rams. I'm going out on a limb. Y'all can say whatever you want. But I got the Rams. Green Bay's on upset alert, and it's got nothing to do with Green Bay. It's got everything to do with this Rams team. If they're on it, I got the Rams in a close one. Nail biter, 27-24.
Yeah, the Rams, they ain't blowing nobody out. This is going to be that game we saw this past weekend against Seattle. It's going to come down to who wins the Devontae Adams Jalen Ramsey matchup, and how many times does Aaron Donald get to Aaron Rodgers? That's I think that's going to determine it. And how many snaps does Aaron Rodgers take this weekend? Meaning, like, how many will they be able to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field with the run game, with the methodical offense, with Jared Goff in that system offense, and with Cam Akers, who is a very underrated running back? It's going to be interesting to see. But, yeah, dude, I'm with you. They're on upset alert, and I would love to see Jalen, because, Jalen loves to talk that shit. I would love to see Jalen get the best and then go talk to the media and be like, nah, I'm the MVP. Because Jalen would say some shit like that. Jalen would go out there, he'd beat Aaron Rodgers, he'd be like, regular season MVP, I'm postseason MVP.
I hate Jalen Ramsey. I'll just say it. I don't like him. I just don't like him. I think he's a bitch.
I love Jalen Ramsey.
I like again, no disrespect. I mean, yeah, it's pretty disrespectful actually for me to say that, but I mean, no disrespect to his game. He's a great player, but I just don't like him. Yeah, he just seems like an asshole. And also, it's like when he tried to fight Marlon Humphrey last year, I was just like, oh, who wins in that fight? It's not Jalen Ramsey, not by a long shot. Or not Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters. He tried to fight Marcus Peters. When Peters had that revenge game against the Rams, it wasn't because Peters was egging him on the whole time. Anyway, moving on. This week, the Tide rolled past the Ohio State Buckeyes in the national championship game. Let me redo that. I'll fix this in post. This week, Alabama, the Tide, rolled past the Ohio State Buckeyes in the national championship game. It was not a close affair at all. Devontae Smith had 215 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mac Jones threw 5 touchdowns. Nick Saban won his 7th title, 6th as a member and head coach of the Alabama Tide. Andrew, what happened to Ohio State? Let's start there. What happened to Ohio State? You were really high on them.
Yeah, I was really high on Ohio State. I still am high on Ohio State. Shaun Wade is still an NFL caliber talent. I think Shaun Wade's struggles this year has been a direct result of Kerry Coombs coming in, and Kerry Coombs, pretty good defensive coordinator, but I think they don't have the same talent that they had last year at corner, and it showed. They were playing very conservative. They usually play man defense, like man-to-man defense. They were dropping back and playing a lot of zone this year. And as a result, Shaun Wade did not look as good as he is capable of. Shaun Wade is still an NFL talent. But I'm going to be honest with you, dude. That fucking Devontae Smith that dude is – I don't think it didn't matter who, whether you had Shaun Wade, you could have had Marshawn Lattimore. Hell, insert any Ohio State great corner from the past 10 years in there. I think Devontae Smith was, and that is no disrespect. That is no disrespect at all to the DBs. That's a generational wide receiver you got there. And I mean, to top it off, dude, like first wide out to win the Heisman since Desmond Howard.
Yeah.
Dude, watching that dude break free on some of these runs, I want to see what he registers at the combine speed wise, but the dude might run a 4.2. He might run a 4.2 dead ass. Like we were talking about, dude. Henry Ruggs was the fastest rookie. And Henry Ruggs was in the same offense. If this dude might be faster than Henry Ruggs, who was the fastest rookie at the combine last year. Just wrap your head around that. Honestly, dude, from what I saw, I think the Jets at number 2, if they're gonna keep Sam Darnold, give Sam Darnold a fucking playmaker on the outside. Like if you're not gonna give him a damn O-line and you're not gonna you know what I'm saying? Like give him something. You know what I'm saying? At least if you're the Jets and you give him Devontae Smith, you at least say, listen, Sam Darnold, we tried. We gave you arguably the best wideout, I'm not going to say of this generation, but, we gave you the clear-cut best wide receiver we could have. The clear-cut probably best offensive weapon we could have given you. That's not a quarterback. I think DeVonta Smith should be the number 2 pick in the draft.
You won't say it, but I will. DeVonta Smith is the best wide receiver prospect since Dez Bryant. Period. And yeah. That you remember back in the day what Dez Bryant was as a prospect. He was getting Randy Moss comparisons. He was getting and I'm serious, no cap, because he had most of his catches, most of his touchdowns, all of his touchdowns in the first half. Alabama scored 42 points in the first half.
Dude had 40. How many yards did this dude have? Dude, mentioned he didn't play the second half.
He had 200. He had 200 yards. He had 200 yards in the first half.
They said he probably would have had 350, maybe 400 had he not.
If he didn't break his hand or if he didn't break his finger, he definitely would have had at least 300. They would have taken him out of the game at some point. But
at some point,
look. Well, at the end of the day, big shout out to Nick Saban. We'll talk about his legacy and what this means for him in a second, but Alabama bullied Ohio State. That's what this comes down to. They bullied Ohio State, and it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all. I just don't understand. I don't understand why Ohio State, here's the thing. They could have won this game. And no, they could have. They had a chance.
No.
They had a chance.
No. Dude. Yeah, if Chase Young and fucking Okuda and those guys came back to school, maybe. No, they were not.
Is this your saltiness for J.K. Dobbins coming out?
If you say Ohio State could have won the game, yeah. If J.K. Dobbins and Chase Young and Okuda came back to school, maybe they could have. Maybe they could have made it like a 1 or 2 possession game with Bama. Hell no, they were not winning this game. No, not even close.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I do think they would have had a better shot had they tried to. Because here's the thing, Justin Fields, he only had 179 yards passing. He did not have his best game. Passing wise in this game. So I think if they had gotten him going early, maybe some short routes, maybe some short completions. Because the thing is, Fields, from what I've seen, you've watched more than I have. If you get him in rhythm early, from what I've noticed, that's when he's at his best. When he makes those completions early, I think it's and it's a thing with a lot of quarterbacks. It's that psychological thing, especially against the Alabama defense. You need to have some level of confidence because you're playing Alabama. You're not just playing Clemson. You're not just playing a Florida State defense. You're playing the best defense in the NCAA. Arguably the best defense if they were in the NFC East, but that's a talk for another day. But, granted, but it came down to Alabama bullied them. Alabama bullied Ohio State. They weren't able to get it going from the beginning. And basically after the first quarter, they had no shot at it because Alabama was just clicking on all cylinders. And that's the thing. Alabama was just clicking on all cylinders. They couldn't do anything to stop it. But, I mean, the question remains, though. Andrew, what does this mean for Nick Saban's legacy? Is he the greatest coach in college football history now?
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't already, dude, he cemented.
Are you telling me he's a better coach than Joe Paterno? Oh, sorry. Can we say his name? Can we say Joe Paterno's name?
Yeah, it's the other dude we can't say.
Whoops. Bleep. Go. Is he okay? Nick Saban, best coach in college football history? Yes or no?
Shout out Penn State. Anyway, Big Daddy Saban, hell yeah, bro, dude. Dude. If you had a Mount Rushmore, I'm quoting Joel Klatt. I'm quoting the great Joel Klatt, dude. This man said if you had a Mount Rushmore of college football coaches, it would be Big Daddy Saban number 1, Paul Bear Bryant number 2, and then the other 2 spots. I mean, that's up for debate. But Big Daddy Saban, dude, Big Daddy Saban is the best to ever do it. And it's, you have some programs where. They have little short spurts where like think about how many years Bob Stoops was at Oklahoma, how many
Mm-hmm.
national championships he won. Think about that. Think about how many NFL like talents. Think about all the NFL talent Bob Stoops had at Oklahoma, how many national championships the dude won. Saban, dude, since he got to Alabama, dude. I mean, if it wasn't enough the winning and everything like that, dude, as a recruiter, Les Miles, when Saban won a national championship with LSU, I think back in 2004, left for the NFL, Les Miles won a national championship with the team Saban left. So that was
Right.
basically insert any coach you want there. Your Saban built a team to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Saban's really good at building teams that can win championships. He's very good at, obviously he gets the best talent, but as we've seen, dude, there are programs that can get the best talent, and it doesn't necessarily materialize into A, winning football, or B, NFL talent. Because when it comes to college football, dude, the team with more NFL players, more times than not, that's the team that's gonna win. Like that's just how it's been. That's just how it's been. That's college football. So I think the fact that Saban has been able to have the success for as long as he's been able to have it, and it's been sustained, dude. It's just every fucking year. It's not just the players, dude. He's got to replace coordinators every damn year.
Mm-hmm.
He just lost Sark. He's how many years removed are we from Lane Kiffin? How many years removed are we from Lane Kiffin? How many coordinators has he had since Lane Kiffin? And dude, they're all going to programs he's got to play against, dude. Here's a stat for you. These coaches, his coordinators, they've won national championship with him. Did you know he's undefeated in games head-to-head against his former coordinators as head coaches? And they're going to places like Tennessee. They're going to Georgia. They're going to Florida. They're going to places, LSU. They're going to places like that. Jimbo Fisher at A&M, dude. Not a single assistant he's ever had has beaten him head-to-head. And
I think Sark could be the one, though. Sark could be the one. Steve Sarkisian could be the one. Because here's the thing. Sarkisian has been around a lot longer than a lot of these other coordinators. He was around for much longer than I think anyone anticipated for him to be. And he's arguably the most effective because Alabama is they're not a school that's known to develop, good quarterback prospects. And then that's honestly, at the end of the day, we talk about wide receivers and running backs. Like all facets of the game are important. At the end of the day, if you're able to develop a quarterback, that's the sign of an elite offensive coordinator, an elite offensive coach. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And Sark has proven that he is that elite type of coach because he turned Mac Jones into a potential first-round pick. Will he pan out in the NFL? We'll see. But no Alabama quarterback has ever really been talked about like this ever. And, that's, again, no disrespect to Mac Jones. I'm not saying he's not talented, but that a lot of that is on Sark and his ability to develop Jones into a better prospect. Jones was someone who was, remember there was that picture going around of him DMing, I think it was Clutch Sport, or he was DMing Rivals, asking them to put him on their page as a recruit. So, so he's come a long way, and I think Sark is part of his development. But for Nick Saban, I think it's inarguable at this point. 6 titles with Alabama in like the last 12 years. So he's averaging a title every other year, basically. You're guaranteed that Saban's gonna win a title. I think this is like he's just done. I think Nick Saban, honestly, at this point, he is the best coach in college football history. The question becomes,
dude, given the circumstances too, man, I'm talking, dude, think about how many years we talk. I mean, I'm not going to bash Dabo. Like, I love to bash. I'm not going to bash Dabo, dude. How many years has Dabo, like Dabo's success on the defensive end has been because of Brent Venables. He's had Venables there pretty much his entire tenure at Clemson, dude. Venables has been there 8 years. Think about the reason Saban has to replace a coordinator every damn year.
Andrew, chill out, buddy. You're getting your whiny voice back. Like, no, Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney is not a good coach.
Sorry.
Look. Dabo Swinney. Okay, here's the thing. Say what you want about Clemson, but Dabo Swinney is what he is. He's a really fucking good college football head coach. Does that transfer over to the NFL? Probably not. But in his case, he doesn't need it to. But you can say the same thing about Nick Saban, and this is what I was getting to earlier. The only question remaining in Nick Saban's career Can he go to the NFL? Because we've seen him do all of this. We've seen him year after year in Alabama churn out top 5, not just top 10, top 5 NFL prospects almost every single year. We've seen him churn out all pros, Pro Bowlers. We've seen him churn out, potential MVP candidates in the likes of Derrick Henry. Can he go to the NFL and win? Can he win in the NFL? That's the only question looming over his career. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, if he stays in college and he decides this is good enough for me, that's great. He will go down as the greatest college football coach in history. And the comparisons, the comparisons to people like Joe Paterno, the comparisons to people like Jimmy Johnson from the U and all those guys.
Bear Bryant.
Bear Bryant, Mac Brown. That's what it's going to be. But if Nick Saban is able, and I don't know what his contract situation is. I'm sure Alabama's paying him more than, I'm sure he's living extremely comfortably. But if he wants to pull an Urban Meyer, because that's what Urban Meyer's doing. Urban Meyer doesn't need the money. Urban Meyer doesn't need, he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. The only thing he needs right now, he's going to Jacksonville for his legacy. Because that's the one thing. He took a Utah team undefeated. He took Florida and he turned Tebow into a first-round pick. He turned Cardell Jones into an NFL quarterback and a national championship winner. Can he do it on the NFL level? That's why he's going there. Nick Saban. That's the question for him. At what point does he want to do that? What do you think?
I don't think he has to. I don't think he has to.
No, he doesn't have to.
I think he's already...
Urban Meyer doesn't have to, but do you think he wants to?
No. I don't think I don't think Saban wants to. Saban's up there in age. Saban is older. I don't know. I can't pinpoint exactly how much older he is than Urban, but I don't think Saban has to at this point. I think Saban's the point of his career where he's happy. He's winning championships at Alabama. He's changing lives. It's almost like the Calipari effect where, he's taking kids and, he's getting them to the NFL. He's got his own little NFL fraternity at Alabama, like just in the past 10 years alone, dude, between, with the Mark Ingrams of the world, the Derrick Henrys of the world, the Calvin Ridleys, the Amari Coopers, guys like that. And also, a point you mentioned about the quarterback, where him developing a quarterback and everything like that, dude, I don't think he has to, because historically, once the BCS era started historically, how many big programs have really given us quarterbacks like that? Like, think about how many big programs have given us, those elite NFL quarterbacks. Not really many. Like, you could say, Brady came out of Michigan. You could say Mahomes, Texas Tech, but those are not blue bloods. You know what I'm saying? Think about where Andrew Luck, Stanford. You had Luck come out of Stanford. Josh Allen came out of Wyoming. You have who was it? Carson Wentz. I'm not going to bash Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is a damn good quarterback. Carson Wentz came out of North Dakota State. So the fact that, people are saying, Saban being able to develop an NFL quarterback, I don't think he has to. Saban just went out there and won a national championship with a dude who was, what, a 3-star recruit coming out of high school? Mind you, the guys the dude's passing to are generational. He's handing the ball off to a damn generational running back. And A.J. McCarron won national championships because he was handing the ball off to fucking, future all-pros in the NFL, or throwing a future all-pros in the NFL.
Trent Richardson and T.J. Yeldon, fucking all-pros in the NFL.
No, I'm talking about and the defense.
You remember those years at Alabama, like they churned out just like terrible running backs in the NFL. Like, they had years where they had T.J. Yeldon and the aforementioned Trent Richardson. That was not fun.
Bo Scarborough was supposed to be something that didn't materialize.
Not in at all.
But hey, you know what, dude? They got running back depth at Alabama. I still think the most wild shit ever is the fact that Alvin Kamara could not crack. He was like 4th on the depth chart over there. And
Alvin Kamara was at Bama?
Alvin Kamara transferred to Tennessee because he wasn't going to crack the depth chart at Alabama, and that's not his fault. Listen, you're probably not going to play ahead of Derrick Henry. You know what? That's not his fault. You got to compete with Derrick Henry.
That would have been a fucking tandem right there.
You got to compete with Derrick Henry, I think, and then later on, Josh Jacobs was coming up too. It's like, he had some studs. Bama has.
Yeah. I'm sorry. We do have to move on.
Sure.
We do got to move on because we got some other stuff we got to cover. And
Sure.
Andrew, this is the big one. This is the big one. The big news from this week. This week, James Harden, Rocket superstar, displeased with his position, displeased with his team and the direction of the Rockets franchise, called out his team, called out his teammates, got beef with Boogie Cousins. He's been putting on the pounds, looking like Mark Henry from the WWE in the Hall of Pain. James Harden officially traded to the Brooklyn Nets, joining forces with Kyrie Irving, who is God knows where right now, and Kevin Durant. The big three has happened in Jersey, or sorry, in Brooklyn. Andrew,
Don't claim the Nets anymore.
Yeah. Sorry about that, bro. And it was a blockbuster 3-team trade. Let's take a look at it. And this was insane. The Nets obviously got James Harden and it's a 2024 second-round pick from the Cavs. God knows we probably would have used it wrong anyway. Rockets got Karis LeVert, Crocus, 3 first-round picks, all belonging to the Nets. 4 first-round swaps from the Nets, and they also received Dante Exum from the Cavs, as well as our Milwaukee 2022 first-round pick, which I would have liked to have seen how that turned out because, who knows what will happen with Giannis, but whatever. It be like that,
Giannis
I guess.
Re-upped. I think Giannis
I'm
re-upped.
hip.
Something you left out. Something you left out of this. You left out something too. Karis LeVert also. This was also part of it. This was Shams broke this news. Was Karis LeVert was also part of a second trade that was also part of this trade where Karis LeVert was then sent to Indiana for Victor Oladipo.
Yeah. That did happen. It happened before I had time to put the graphic together. So my bad.
I was like, what? I was like,
I couldn't make sense of it. But let me just finish.
All these names getting moved. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like,
bottom
line,
line,
to keep track of.
Bottom line, for the 2 people left along with me who are Cavs fans, we got another center, and next year I cannot wait to see Andre Drummond playing the point. That's where this is all going to. We're doing exactly what the New York Knicks did last year, except we're trying to do it better. We're trying to do it better, and this is look. I've said for a long time, we'll get to James Harden in a second. We will get to James Harden. Let me just rant about these Cavs. These fucking Cleveland Cavaliers. As if we weren't bad enough. Look, all I'm saying is we really need to start thinking about, moving on from Dan Gilbert. I'm so serious about this, Andrew. Dan Gilbert has been he's Dan Snydered this whole operation in Cleveland. He's torpedoed it, all right? We have like fucking 5 centers now, all right? We're paying Kevin Love to do nothing, all right? We're not even playing Jetty Osman to the level we probably should be playing him if he's on the team. We're having a lot of problems here with our team, and the roster just doesn't seem to be getting better. There's no fluidity in the roster. It's just not a good team. There's no direction. There's no direction other than tanking, which I'm all for. I love the tank. Don't get me wrong. Like, if anyone needs a tank to get better, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, because ain't nobody coming to Cleveland ever. Period. LeBron was the only thing that drew people to Cleveland. He's never coming back. He's gonna ride out his career in LA. Probably play with Bronny at some point. Who knows? But Cleveland, the only way they get better is through getting these first-round picks. And whether they're late or whether they're early, you never know. Chris Hero was like a 13th overall pick. There's people you can find later in the draft. We need as many as we can get. I don't get it. We didn't need to be part of this trade. We didn't need to give up Dante Exum. He was one of like 3 point guard or three guards we had in the team. Now we're down on a guard. What the fuck?
You guys must have a lot of faith in Colin Sexton and Darius Garland.
Look, I got a lot of faith in Colin. I got a lot of faith in Colin Sexton. I got a lot of faith in Colin Sexton as a shooter. I don't have a lot. I mean, not that I don't have a lot of faith in him like handling the point, but he's just like he is a shooter. That's what he is. He's a shooter, and he can score a lot of points, and he can be No, he can, Andrew. He can. He 100% can. I know you
He's
don't
more
like
of a
him.
scorer. He's not really a shooter like that.
No, he is
I
a
think he's
shooter.
more of
He
a
is a shooter.
slasher.
He's shooting. Dude, he's shooting like above 45% this year. He's like from the three. He's good. But look, I do think that the Cavs, and like I said, we'll get to the Nets in a second. I know that's what everyone wants to hear about, but the Cavs, dude. Dan Gilbert, give me some fucking direction here. Jesus Christ. Anyway, all right, Andrew. James Harden got moved to the Nets. The big three for now in Brooklyn are Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. What do you think?
They've almost got it, dude. First off, I'm going to tell you, they've almost got it, dude. One more move has to be made from Brooklyn. One more, and you know what I'm alluding to, right? I hope you know which move I'm alluding to, man.
Which one?
The one that sends Kyrie to Washington and brings Russ to Brooklyn. Just put the boys back together. They can find a way to bring it.
That is dangerous. What you're talking about, the shit you're talking about right now, is dangerous for the hearts of everyone in Oklahoma City. that would not be a fun team. Ellie Rosman, love how professional it looks. Good topics too. Thank you, Ellie or Eli, however you say your name.
But on the subject of Brooklyn, it was a blockbuster trade. I know James Harden wanted out, which, I mean, after the performance that team put on the other day, he pretty much said, get me the fuck out of here. But my biggest thing with Brooklyn is going to be, dude, they were already, mind you, they don't really have much of a rim protection. Like, they have DeAndre Jordan, but he's not the DeAndre Jordan he used to be. The only other rim protector they had was Jared Allen, who they traded. I trying to remember. No, they didn't draft that kid. There was a kid they drafted, but he doesn't really play. And the biggest question, because I know a lot of people now are talking about how Brooklyn could potentially people are talking about how it's going to be in the NBA Finals. It's going to be Brooklyn versus the Lakers. It's going to be Brooklyn against the Lakers. My problem with Brooklyn, though, dude, is that the defense, man. You have all that firepower on offense, but it's going to be the defense. And you also have to look at it this way, dude. Out of the three guys on that court, out of the three guys in that big three, there's only one guy who's actually capable of being a complementary piece. And that's the best one, which is Kevin Durant. He's the only one capable of being a spot-up shooter. He's the only one capable of being like, yes, you can dribble the ball 50 times on the perimeter, and I will stand in the corner, and I can spot up, and I'll shoot over anybody because I have a fucking 11-foot release point. So he's the only one capable of being a complimentary player. And frankly, he's the only one I think capable of playing defense because he's 7 feet tall. The other two dudes, I don't know, because I know Harden's
Kyrie can get his man
when he wants to. But
if he's there, that's the question. If he's there, because right now he's not.
I don't, because they already struggle on defense. That team already struggles on defense. It's like,
but here's the thing. I think they're at the point though. I think they're going to be fine. Like, they have enough offensive.
How do they match up with the Lakers?
Oh, no. I'm talking about in the East. I think they're going to be fine in the East. The one team that I could see giving them trouble is like a team that it does play good defense, Miami, or even Toronto. Toronto could also give them, because Toronto's like one of those teams, like they're a matchup nightmare because one, their coaching, like Nick Nurse's scheme, the schemes he runs are like, they're disciplined. Like, there's players are disciplined, and Kyle Lowry obviously leading the charge there on defense. But I think the question for them, the question for the Nets is, what are the aspirations for this year? What are your goals? Is it a failure if
finals or bust?
Is it a finals win or bust, or is it just getting to the finals?
No, it's a finals win.
Finals win.
First off, just getting to the finals was one thing. When they went out and they paid Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and bought them in while they were both injured, it was with the understanding that, you know what, even though we're both injured, we're just gonna play out last season, see what happens. They fucked around and made the playoffs, right? The first year they fucked around, they made the playoffs, got eliminated in the first round. Both of them come back. Kevin Durant, you watched the game last night. It was a nationally televised game. Kevin Durant torched the Knicks and didn't even look like he was trying, and still torched the Knicks. And so you got to think of it this way, was they went out and got those guys just to get them to the finals. Not get out of the first round, not get to the Eastern Conference Finals, get them to the finals and win the damn finals. You make a move to bring in James Harden with the money that you're paying him, the kind of scorer that he is, with the the reputation, the accolades, and everything like that. You're bringing that guy in to basically say that this is win a championship this year. Win a championship this year while we still have Kevin Durant and Kyrie under contract. Because with that trade for James Harden, I don't know how long Harden's contract is. I know Harden signed a massive contract a few years ago, but once KD and Kyrie's contracts are up, someone's out, someone's gone. You can't pay all of them and still afford to put a team. You don't put a team on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I think though that look. The question's always going to be though, the expectation obviously you get all these guys, you need to win a title, but they're just not. They're not the team that from the East that's going to beat the Lakers, right? Like there really is no team in the East I think that can beat the Lakers in a one-on-one matchup, except maybe the Heat at 100%. But even then, it's not close.
Has to go right. A lot
has to go right. Right. You got to get a lot of calls. You're going your way. You got to hope that
you got Jimmy Butler's got to go have a. Remember the finals last year? Jimmy Butler's got to have a 40-point game. Goran Dragic has to show up. You got to have fucking
Tyler Hero's got to develop. He's got to grow now.
Right.
Like he's in his second year. He's got to develop.
Tyler Hero's got to go become a scorer, and you need Bam Adebayo to basically become Ben Wallace, and you're not scoring on the inside. It's basically that's what they need to beat the Lakers, essentially.
And especially that Lakers team.
Stuff to happen.
That Lakers team is better. That Lakers team is they retooled to the max because they took Rajon Rondo and replaced him with a better version of Rajon Rondo and Dennis Schroeder, who's more capable of even scoring than Rondo. And they brought in, they lost JaVale McGee, they lost a few other pieces, but they brought in Montrezl Harrell from the other side of LA, and he's gonna come in there and be just, this team is just OP. Let's be honest. If we're I know you don't like LeBron, and we can have the LeBron discussion later, but one thing that's undeniable is this team together and the chemistry they have, the how good LeBron and AD are in the playoffs together, especially because they do load management. It's the game. It's what they do. When they don't need to play, they don't play. But in the playoffs, they go all out, and they're capable of doing that. But this team is just too good. I don't see a team that's in the East, even the Nets included, that's going to come out and beat them.
I don't either. But the Western Conference playoffs are weird, dude. Because
the only way they're coming out is through those Mavs. I'm telling you, don't
either
sleep on
those
Luka.
Mavs or the fucking Suns. Those are the only teams. And even then, it's Devin Booker might have to.
No, the Suns.
Devin Booker might have to go score 50 a game.
Who's guarding LeBron? Who's guarding LeBron?
I think you could try to scheme for that. I mean, you got DeAndre Ayton down low. He could do anything.
But then
try.
Yeah, no. The thing is, the reason
I don't know. You might just have to keep swapping bodies. Mikal Bridges just keeps swapping bodies and tire LeBron out.
Look,
that's
the reason.
Other guys to beat you.
Look. There's one we didn't even mention, the Clippers, and there's a reason for that. They're not beating anybody. But I'm sorry. I like Kawhi too. But he chose to play with George Paul. I refuse to say his real name until he proves otherwise. But he went to go play with George Paul, and we saw how that turned out. But the only two teams that I could see giving the Lakers trouble and are good matchups for the Lakers are the Nuggets and the Mavs. And the Nuggets, because they can match up man for man. Well, they can match up on defense and contain the Lakers offense, and they scheme well. And if Jamal Murray comes out and he balls out, he can lead them in scoring. You got Nikola Jokic, the Joker, who can handle a lot of the stuff inside. And then the Mavs only because Luka Doncic is that bad. He's a bad man. Luka Doncic he's an offensive defensive machine. He's gonna be the MVP one day. It's undeniable. He could win the MVP this year. Far too early to tell. But Luka Doncic is going to be a nightmare to actually defend for the Lakers. And likewise, when you have Porzingis, if Porzingis is healthy, and again, big if on that one, he's also a nightmare because even AD is going to probably have trouble scoring Porzingis if he's healthy. or guarding Porzingis. So that's gonna but again, Lakers, you would still take them as the favorite in both of those matchups. We're only talking about teams that possibly could win. There's no team outright that could match up man for man with the Lakers right now.
I agree. I mean,
they're just too good. They're just too good.
There could be more moves made, but ultimately, dude, I mean, with the Nets got the firepower, the Nets got the talent. I mean, I think the Nets are good enough to come out of the East, dude. And then, dude, in the finals, anything is possible. I mean, Kevin Durant's a matchup nightmare. My biggest fear with them is the egos of Kyrie and James Harden clashing, because James Harden, it seems like he's one of those dudes that really can't get along with players. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like he doesn't really like being told what to do.
I mean, look, look. People say that, oh, well, he has that relationship with KD going back to OKC. Also had a relationship with Russ. We saw how that turned out.
And
we saw what happened with Chris Paul. That relationship waned. There were reports before that when Clint Capella was there, they were having beef. They had trouble. So there's a consistency we're seeing in James Harden, and even like towards the end of his Rockets career, like which was a few days ago, him and Boogie Cousins were beefing because let's talk about that specific thing. Like we know James Harden, he has trouble getting along with his teammates, and that's just a reputation he has. We'll see if he can better than the Nets. I don't think he can get over that. I think it's going to be a problem going into this team. Might actually implode this team and their chances for winning. But James Harden goes out there on a post-game press conference with his fat ass, and he says that this team's not good enough. This team sucks, basically, is what he said. And he said it to reporters blatantly. And look, here's the thing. There's ways he could have said that, right? That would have been that would have motivated his team. You could have been like, we got to be better. We got to go out there and do this. We got to block better. We got to scheme better. There's ways to do it, right? He said flat out, this team sucks. We're not going anywhere. It's not happening. No. And he said it in a disrespectful way that called into question not just the willpower of his team and their work ethic, but also just their talent. And look, obviously they're not a team that's going to go win the Western Conference, but you don't do that to your teammates. He threw them under the bus as if he wasn't part of the problem, that they weren't playing well. He threw them.
He's not a leader,
and he's not a leader. That's what it comes down to.
I think we've come down to realize that, and this is something that I think many people have to understand too. Is regardless of how much guys get paid, they get paid off of their ability to play basketball, talent-wise. Leadership is something that's between the ears. James Harden doesn't have it. I think James Harden, very talented basketball player, one of the top 10, top 5 players on the planet right now, dude. He can score with the best of them, can score at will. I just think he's not a leader. And
he never was, and he never will be.
I think we've seen that. And the problem with him is I think because he's so egotistical and so ego-driven, we've seen, he couldn't get along with Russ, couldn't get along with Chris Paul and stuff like that. You can't get along with Chris Paul. Not getting along. I equate Russ falling out with Chris Paul, not Russ. I equate the James Harden falling out with Chris Paul to, do you remember when everybody within the Minnesota Timberwolves organization was at it with Jimmy Butler, where, why were they? Because Jimmy Butler is someone who's not going to let you off the hook. He's going to hold you accountable. If you don't play defense, you miss a read, you let a guy backdoor and score, he's going to get on you about it because Jimmy Butler is a leader.
And there's a huge difference between the whole Jimmy Butler situation and what happened with Harden this past week. Jimmy Butler played with those same guys for a year. James Harden, a lot of these guys are just getting to Houston. This team is just starting to play together. Jimmy Butler played with these guys and he knew how they were. He had the ability as the leader of that team at that point to call them out and say, yo, you guys aren't playing well. Step up. That's what he did. And look, when Jimmy Butler came up and he challenged them, when he took the second team, when he took the practice squad players and said, I'm going to win. I'm going to win with you guys 5-on-5, and he won. That was because he proved to them that their work ethic lacked. There's a reason why he was pissed off and why he ended up leaving, because that never got better. So if that doesn't get better, then you got to ask for a trade, right? So That's the thing. That's the thing with Jim. That's what happened with Jimmy Butler. With James Harden, he just threw them under the bus and was like, "Nah, they ain't good enough. I want to trade. I'm out." No.
He basically did not accept accountability. I don't think.
No, and that's something he's never done. He's never done that in his career.
He exempts himself from accountability by basically saying that, we lose, but it's almost like a we lost, but I get mine. So I got mine, but we lost. It's everybody else's fault.
You're the best player on the team. You're supposed to be the reason they win and the reason they lose. If they lose, it's not because of anyone else. It's on you. Because if you're truly the best player, you want to be the leader, then you have to take accountability. You have to take the responsibility of being better in the moment. If you're not, then you're not. LeBron, with a terrible Cavs team. I know that team. That same team won less than 20 games the next year after LeBron left. LeBron took that team to the finals. And afterwards, when he lost, what did he say? He said, "It's on me. I should have been better." He took accountability. I shouldn't have punched the fucking fire hydrant after game 1 because I was so mad at J.R. Smith. So it's like on accountability. James Harden never has that, never will have that. And, I think that bleeds into another question that Christian just asked us. Do you see KD or Kyrie requesting a trade soon?
I could see Kyrie asking out.
Oh,
TBH
totally.
I could see because Kyrie, remember Kyrie's mood changes with it changes with the wind. Every time the season changes, Kyrie's mood changes. So I think Kyrie, he'll ask out. That's why I was saying before, dude. Hey, you got KD, you got James Harden. You know what? You got a few hundred miles down south. You got Russ. Pull that trigger, man. Get that big three back together. Everyone in OKC will turn over in their graves to see that, but you know what? I think it will be hysterical.
Do the Nets win a championship with this core? Yes or no? Not specifically this year, but even like next 5 years. No.
No,
don't see it happening.
Absolutely not. They're gonna end up blowing it up. I think this is a more talented version of when they had that big three or the shell of that fucking Darren Williams, the 40-year-old KG, Paul Pierce. This is like a shell of that.
The Billy King three.
This is like a shell of that. It's not a shell. That was a shell of this talent-wise. I think those guys, at least, they were like mentally tough. They were leaders, been there, done that. Even though KD and Kyrie have won championships before with two different organizations and everything like that, I don't think they're mentally tough enough. So no, I could see this blowing up right in front of them, right in front of their faces, and I could see KD, Kyrie, and or James Harden being the reason for why it blows up and doesn't work.
That's how it be. Yeah. So that's all we have for the scheduled show. Andrew, any final takes, final thoughts, questions? If you guys have any leftover questions we didn't get to, this would be a good time to ask them in the chat.
Yeah, man, we don't talk too much about baseball on this because baseball season, especially last season with the condensed season and everything
there was no season last year. The Nats are still the defending champions.
My thing is I don't know what baseball teams y'all root for, but
is this gonna turn into a Mets rant? It's
not a Mets rant. It's just, I'm very excited. Me and Johnny, we were very happy. Steve Cohen purchased the team, and he's got the team trending in the right direction, man. He made the trade for Francisco Lindor, went out, he bought us Cookie back, Cookie being Carlos Carrasco. He's making all the right moves, saying all the right stuff, not trading the prospects, stupid stuff that the organization used to do, the Mets organization. They wouldn't spend money, but they would trade top prospects for, past their prime players. And the guys that they would pay would get hurt 1 week into the season. So I'm just happy that my New York Mets are, we're finally getting it right. And hopefully this is a new era for the Mets. And I hope the Mets could win a championship. There's another one. A question I have to ask some of y'all. You can answer it in the chat. Of the teams that I root for, them being the New York Mets, the New York Knicks, and the Tennessee Titans. I'm not going to include the Vancouver Canucks because we don't talk hockey on this. Which of my teams do you see potentially winning a championship first in my lifetime?
Do you want me to answer that first?
Anyone could answer it. Which one do you think?
Guys, answer that question in the chat if you can. But I'll answer it. It's the team that you didn't want included in that thing. It's the Canucks. That's the best chance you're ever gonna have as a fan of winning a title. Like dead ass.
Everyone tells me that too.
Like
Everyone
dead
tells
ass.
me that too. Everyone tells me that too.
Because the
Like,
Canucks are on a come up. The Canucks are on the come up in the next few years. Like, and that's a good hockey organization. Look, Steve Cohen doing a fantastic job. But he's doing a fantastic job by Met standards. It's like, I understand the excitement, but we'll see. Oh, and Christian, what's up with someone in the chat just answered the Mets? You're capping. I'm sorry.
Hey man, I want to see it.
I'm sorry.
Dude,
I love the fans.
I want
but
to see
you're
it
capping.
too, bro.
You're capping. No, they're not.
I want to see it too, man.
Look, you want me
Mets
to? I'll answer,
championship.
how about
I
this?
want to see it, bro.
Andrew, I will answer this in like order of who has the best chance. Number 1, the Canucks. Number 2, the Tennessee Titans. Number 3, the Mets. Number 4, the New York Knicks. The Knicks are not look, the Mets might the Mets are with Steve Cohen can win a title. I'm not saying that they won't. They can. Just a lot needs to go right from where they are.
That could be a few years from now. I'm not going to say. I'm not saying this season. Maybe a few years from now.
But that's what I'm saying. But we're talking about most likely in the next few years.
The first. Which is the first one?
The first. The Canucks. The first is the Canucks. Second is the Titans. Both of those teams can go out there in the next few years and win. Mets, we'll see, bro. There's still. I'm sorry. It's that taste. It's that Mets taste. It's that when you wake up in the morning, after a long night out, and you're just like like you got that taste in your mouth. You're just like, damn, I need to brush my teeth. That's what it's like being a Mets fan. I feel
it's a hard life.
From the outside looking in, that's what I feel it's like being a Mets fan.
It's a hard life.
And the Knicks, look, I just want to start by saying, my condolences to you and to everyone else in New York for, your status as a Knicks fan. I wish you were born into a Nets household. Be a lot more exciting right now. Obviously, would have been a lot more exciting for the past few years, but it'd be like that.
I had the chance, dude. When the Nets were in Jersey, I had the chance, dude. I had the chance.
Christian just asked, do you think the San Diego Padres will win a chip in the next 5 years?
I think they could be a playoff team. Like the Mets, a lot has to go right.
I mean, look, they brought.
They're a very good team. They have a lot of young talent. They I think they were the ones that just went out and got Blake Snell, right? So
they got Blake Snell.
Bolster the pitching staff and everything. I know they've got all the kids. They have what is it? I think they still have Will Myers.
And they signed Yu Darvish. They got Manny Machado still. And he's shown that he can still play. I think the Padres actually, they might be better suited for success in winning a chip before the Mets, honestly.
It's just, dude, the thing with the Padres is you got the Dodgers. You got the Dodgers. They're the Yankees of the West. They're the Yankees of the West, but in the National League is what they are.
I mean, when was the last time the Dodgers won the World Series?
World Series?
Yeah.
Before the season that we're not counting. I want to say...
yeah. This season doesn't count. Like, I wasn't even thinking... Like, no, this past season... I'm sorry, Dodgers fans. This season doesn't count.
The 80s? Maybe the 80s? 88, maybe?
No, didn't they win? Didn't they win, like, 3 years ago?
No.
Oh, no, they lost to Boston, didn't they?
They lost to Boston in the remember? They lost to Boston in the World Series. They lost to the Astros in the World Series. Yeah. They lost to the Cubs.
Well, no,
NLCS
redacted. They didn't lose to the Astros. Redacted.
Okay.
Look. We're doing the work that baseball won't. We're telling you the truth. Astros didn't win shit. They haven't won shit. And
the Astros organization does not have a World Series. I don't give a fuck what you say. The Astros, whatever highlights you find of that World Series on YouTube, those are Photoshop. That didn't actually happen. It shows you how far technology has come, where they can actually create video footage of shit that didn't actually happen and tell you that it did.
Dude, it is some amazing CGI. That's all I will say about it.
It is some amazing CGI. Any footage of that 2017 World Series, dude, the CGI, the effects, like...
Now, that 2019 World Series, though, that did happen. We definitely saw that. That 2019 World Series of the defending World Series champions. Fuck you, Dodgers fans. The defending World Series champion Washington Nationals. That totally did happen. We are still the defending champions until I get to see that team in person, get their rings, put that banner up. I am not accepting it. I'm gonna trump it. I swear to God. I don't care if it's until 2022. I will go into 2022 saying that we are still the defending champions. I don't give a fuck. Look, and hey, I'm not the
okay.
Look. I'm not the president of the United States. There's really no ramifications if I do it. All right. If I do it, it doesn't like destroy the world. It doesn't destroy the country. All it does is get a few people pissed off online, and that's fine. But yo, I'm serious. Until that team is able to put their banner up and I'm able to be there for it because I had tickets. I had fucking tickets to that opener and I was going to be there and I was going to see them get their rings. I was going to see them put that banner up. I was going to be part of the excitement seeing Ryan Zimmerman, World Series champion, Ryan Zimmerman, my favorite player ever, go in to a game as a champion and hopefully hit a home run because he's known to do that in the big moments.
He was going to walk out there with a cane, dude. He was going to walk out there with a damn walker and a cane, dude. You kidding me? That man's old.
He had one more home run in him, and you know damn well he would have done it. And then he could have retired. He could have retired. He's going to come back. That's why I'm sorry. I know we don't talk about like this kind of stuff on here, but this is very important for the 4 people right now who are listening. If you can, as soon as you are able to, get vaccinated. We need to put this shit behind us. I'm done. I need to go to a Nationals game. I need it. Not even as a fan, as a human being, as a fucking human being, I need it. Give it to me. Let me just I will stop. I will stop complaining. I will stop shitting on baseball. Just get vaccinated and let's get past this shit. Any other final thoughts?
Nope, that's all, folks. That's all we got for you tonight.
Yeah. Any other final questions from the chat? It was a good stream so far. Andrew, I was thinking about potentially doing a watch along for one of the playoff games. I feel like that would be funny. What do you think? Yeah, he's like, you don't want to hear some of the shit I say during games.
You really don't, dude. When I get emotionally invested, I have to sleep. Dude, I got to watch Titans games with a Xanax next to me just because of the levels of anxiety that it can give me. Now, I don't get as emotionally invested in these teams that I don't root for. But, yeah, no. I mean, I might be at the bar watching the game too. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to watch me watch the game at a bar, it could be a fun time. We could cheers, we can toast, we could shotgun, all that shit.
We'll see what happens to that. We do have one fan submitted question from the email, and you guys can email us anytime. realtakesportstalk@gmail.com. Again, realtakesportstalk@gmail.com. We do have one question. And I forgot to put it in the show, but I think it's important enough to ask, Andrew. You want to know what it is?
Sure.
How mad are you at Jadeveon Clowney?
Oh, I'm ticked. I'm First, the amount of money that man was asking for last season that the fucking Seahawks were not going to give him. Then the money he was asking, that man wanted, I think, up to like 1 year, $17 million, which we didn't give him. I think we only gave him 10 or 11, maybe 9. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't think he played half the season because he ended up getting hurt. I don't think he recorded a single sack. We bought him in to be a disruptor. It wasn't even that. And that's when he was on the field. And then ultimately, I had to watch what I've been watching from the Titans for the last how many years, which was, we bought him in to be a pass rusher, and we still had no damn pass rush. And I think that ultimately it was one of the key factors as to why we got eliminated in the wild card round of the playoffs. So, yeah, there's that.
You guys overpaid for Matthew Judon is what you basically did. You look, Jadeveon Clowney is like a injury-prone Matthew Judon. That's who he is. That's all he is. That's what I'm saying. If you guys get Matthew Judon, you basically be getting, similar production from if he's on the field, but he'd be on the field longer. And he's also, Matthew Judon is a leader. Like you'd bring leadership to that defense as well. So I think Matt
dope in a jersey though. He looks dope in a jersey. He looks, dude. Well, no matter what jersey you put him in, you could put him in a Steelers jersey, a bronze jersey.
No. No.
He just looks dope in a jersey.
No. Stop it. He will never be wearing a Steelers jersey. He
Probably not.
He would retire before he wears. He hates the Steelers. He actually hates.
He might end up retiring anyway, dude. I mean, I don't know who's gonna pay. He might have to retire because of poor free agent market. Seriously, he doesn't have the stats to warrant what he's gonna. He doesn't have the stats to warrant a contract. Or unless he sells out and just says, you know what, let me go join Andy Reid and the Chiefs to potentially win a Super Bowl, which he very easily could.
Who isn't doing that?
He might take the league minimum.
Who isn't doing that?
Who might take the league minimum?
When they got Le'Veon Bell, that pissed me off. That made me angry. I was like, really? And he took like the veteran minimum, really? Like
Clowney's bitch ass. Tell me Clowney's bitch ass will go out and get 7 sacks.
No, he'll get like that. He'll get that incentive based contract. Oh, if he gets like 5 sacks in the season, they pay him like $10 million.
Yeah, and watch him go out and do it.
And it won't count against your cap.
I don't think he recorded a single sack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he recorded a single sack in Tennessee. Disrupted a few passes. He moved a couple offensive linemen from time to time, but that was about it. Didn't really do much. Biggest waste of money. John Robinson. I'm not gonna put that on John Robinson because we needed a pass rush. We thought we were getting Chase Young. Turns out we were wrong. We were wrong.
Dead wrong. And speaking of dead, that pretty much describes this episode right now. I think it's coming to an end. All right, we'll be back again next week to be doing the same conversation. We will have a live stream this weekend, to preview some of the games on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be hosting that. Andrew might or might not be there, depending on how angry he is about sports. But we'll see about that. Be sure to join us again next week. In the meantime, keep the conversation going on Twitter by following us at Real Take Sports. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Only takes a second, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Like this stream. Also, if you can, for as little as $2 a month, you can become a patron at patreon.com. Help us out with the show and get some dope bonus content of us breaking down a lot of fun stuff. Also, make sure that you follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the full episodes. And until next time, I'm Omar Qureshi.
And I'm Andrew.
And that's Andrew. And we'll see you next time. Later, guys.